What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from RC Nightmare. That's right. We're in a bit of a little echoey room. We're working on that. But more importantly, we've got some brand new RCs to take a look at. This is the Kraton 1/5 scale 8S BLX. Now, this is their probably Arrma's competitor to the X-Max, a similar price point at $1,000. What you got in here is obviously, this is the ready run, so you get. Now, by the way, I don't consider things ready to run if they don't include lipos. That's something that has changed since I left. You know, when you talk about Traxxas, for example, when they say something's ready to run, you get a charger and a battery. This, they say ready to run, but it isn't ready to run because it doesn't come with $100 in batteries and chargers. But that's just a gripe, neither here nor there. That seems to be like an industry thing nowadays. But this has the a waterproof steering servo, waterproof ESC, and a gigantic 1100 kV brushless motor. Now, the steering servo, I read some people were whining a little bit about it being underpowered, which is usually the case with ready-to-run kits. In particular, Traxxas runs their 2075 steering servo and everything, and that's like the number one thing I recommend everyone do when they buy a ready-to-run is upgrade that steering servo. But this has 820 ounces in steering servo at 8.4 volts. 820 ounces seems pretty good for a fifth scale. Again, they say this is fifth scale. I would say it's more like sixth or seventh scale. But again, that's a nitpick. You know, everybody has different things to talk about when they're talking about the scale of things and things of that nature. And of course, it comes with a Spectrum remote as well. You know, this thing has everything about this thing is made to bash, or as Arrma cringily calls it, made to blast. I don't care for that marketing wonk, but that's neither here nor there. When you look at the side of this thing, as my head's just peeking out over it, everything exudes, you know, heavy duty. You've got a wheelie bar, you've got all metal internal gears, you've got obviously aluminum chassis, or for my Aussies, an aluminum chassis. You've got these big beefy copperhead tires. You know, it's a big kit. You've got 6mm shock shafts and even bigger, stronger rod ends. So, you know, a lot of the ready-to-run stuff out in the market is kind of coming pre-upgraded. Back when I was more heavily into RC 5, 6, 7 years ago, everything you bought, you've got to replace the A-arms with RPM or Integy, or, you know, you do all these upgrades. Now they're charging for it all up front. And so whether or not they are as beefy as they say is, of course, up to the individual themselves. Now, one thing I'm interested about finding out on this thing is exactly how waterproof it is, as it doesn't really lead with a big, hey, this is waterproof thing. Although, you know, it does indicate that the ESC and receiver are waterproof. Some of the other specs, it says here, obviously you've got a 15-tooth spline on that. You've got a 160 amp or 160A V2 waterproof ESC that does both 6S and 8S. In my experience, you know, you're just going to want to rock 8S all the time. But again, you're talking about some serious money on batteries then. You know, you go get 2 of the 4S Spectrum batteries and then their smart charger. I'm going to guess that's got to be at least $100. Now, one of the interesting things I'm seeing right out of the box is that it doesn't come assembled all the way, which is interesting. You get, what, a support card, so you can buy parts, and of course you've got the 24mm wrench to put the wheels on. This is the size of the wheel. Very, very large, very similar to, again, what I would probably say the X-Max by Traxxas. But these might almost be even a little bit bigger. This is their Copperhead 2. I don't really know if that means anything to you. It doesn't mean anything to me. You know, there's a time when, you know, Proline, you know, you buy Proline tires, everyone got psyched up about a particular type of tire, a particular type of tread. That's more important, I think, in the race world. Obviously, for bashing, you want stuff that is durable and grippy, but there's always a lot fewer options in that world. Now, I think this particular unit, we've got zip ties holding it, so we're gonna grab the handy Skeletool. What I'm mostly interested in it too is here, you talk about, you're getting into this RC world where stuff is pretty dang expensive. You know, $1,000 for a kit. This isn't For most people, this isn't going to be their very first kit, I wouldn't imagine. You know, unless you're some rich kid or your parents are rich. This is more like next level, older kids, once you've had a lot of the 10th scale stuff, things of that nature. This is the monster out of the box. Very, very, very large, very heavy. One of the things you're gonna kind of, when you move to these larger scale RCs, one of the earliest things you're gonna, one of the early things you're like, holy crap, they're super heavy. That's why they need, 6S, 8S batteries to get up and going. It looks like they have their own form of the quick release body shocks or the body clips, which are always nice. The Traxxas design, I think, is superior in this. However, this is pretty fine. This is definitely a step forward in, having to keep extra body clips in your pocket forever. I'm happy to see, the RC industry stop trying to nickel and dime all of us hobbyists on buying packs of freaking body clips. Nothing worse than losing those. So these are attached by they've got a little, like you have your mittens when you're a kid. Top comes off, revealing a lot of metal, so you can see here, one of the things I don't love on the bottom, I don't like designs on the bottom. This, and again, these are pretty light nitpicks, but do not like this. Don't just blast on the bottom. Hate it, hate everything about it. I'd rather just have it clean. Or you could have this design, but why am I advertising for you? I don't know. It's a nitpick, but it's got, one thing you can notice is a lot of like the wing, the front bumper are all beefy. The A-arms are extremely beefy. Everything in this thing is metal. There's very little plastic to see on the chassis, or you have these supports in the center to help keep everything from twisting and bending under the insane power that this thing packs. 1100 kV, not only, that's going to give you a lot of low end. Usually when you're looking at the KVs of RCs, the lower the KV, you're going to have a lot of low end, which is important when your kit weighs like 50 pounds or whatever this thing does. Inside here, you just got some storage boxes. I think this is just the transmitter. Nothing really too exciting to say about that. Your standard Spectrum, transmitter. Nothing to write home about. And then I think we should have, they better give you a 24 millimeter T-wrench to put the tires on. They do. Okay. So let's put the tires on, I guess, to see. You get a pretty good assortment here of tools in here, which I like to see. But, you got your wrenches, everything you're going to need to take things off. You also have your high speed gear. So if you want to switch out your spur gear, you have that. So if you want to, usually they'll say, oh, this is, if you want to go 40 or 50 miles an hour, this is your gear. That's going to give you some more high end. But usually when you trade, you usually trade your low end for your high end. So it's not going to be as fast off the line. It's just going to have more top speed. I know a lot of people get into speed runs and things of that nature. Just remember, as somebody who's been doing RC for a very long time, the faster you drive, the easier things break. So here you have at the end of each tire, or you have the nut right on here. So the wrench will come on, take it off. I'm gonna take a second, I'm gonna put the tires on. So one of the things I noticed when putting on the tires, it had really nice upgrade metal inside the hubs on the tire, something that isn't even on my Low C5T. And also the the bearings on this wheelie bar on the back are exceedingly good. Like really well freewheeling. I don't know if you probably can't even see that, but that's really nice. The metal support bars here are held in by like quick release clips, like body clips, quick release. So I guess you could take them off and work on things pretty quickly. I'm not sure how big of a deal that is, because you can pretty much get at everything the way it is. You have a monster ESC that's way off to the side here. With tires on, it's obviously much more impressive. Put the body back on. The body is what it is. One of the gripes that I've always had with RCs, over the years is that the bodies they give you are pretty flimsy and fall apart pretty quick. This is like in the middle of the road, I would say. I think that it's gonna last okay. Early on you get like a Traxxas RTR or something like that. That body's falling apart after one day of bashing. This is a lot more rigid. And it's protected more because you have such huge tires and obviously a huge wing. That's going to take most of your damage. These are the parts you're going to replace. Obviously the A-arms, you catch something wrong, the bumper, is okay, but that's just going to break. The wing here, I mean, the wheelie bar is really good, and the wing is pretty strong. I mean, it's also flexible. So I think this is probably pretty well built. Again, my only gripes are all the branding on it. Like, I don't care that, there's Spectrum banding and Horizon Hobby and all this stuff on there, but that's such an irrelevant nitpick. It has nothing to do with the kit. I would say, out of the box, this is going to be something that is going to compete with the X-Max in terms of performance. Once we run it, I'll be able to compare them more directly, which is better, the X-Max or the Arrma Kraton. But what is in general the case with RCs like this, you're spending $1,000 on an RC, it's gonna rip pretty good. You're gonna have a lot of fun, and a lot of it's gonna come down to personal preference. I don't really do the brand loyalty thing, and it seems like Arrma has come a long way in terms of kits and opportunities to compete with Traxxas in the bashing world. So that is the Kraton 8S. Looks pretty good. I can't wait to run it. It's going to be interesting to run 8S. 8S is a lot of juice for a kit this small. I mean, it's big, but 8S is a lot of juice. This thing's probably going to rip like crazy. Have mad wheelies, which people always like, and it'll be a good basher for doing flips and stuff like that, getting in the dirt piles, stuff like that. So, yep, my name's Jeremy. This is RC Nightmare. We're back. We've got lots and lots of kits behind me to unbox, review, bash, upgrade, all sorts of stuff coming forward. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.